Hi guys, welcome back to another math lesson. So this is lesson 34, session 3, and I'm on page 755. And this is actually the last session for the symmetry lesson. It's only 3 sessions, this whole thing, so this is the last one. And then we'll go back to the beginning of the book over here and do all these fractions, ones in the middle that we're supposed to do when we got back to school, but now we'll do them from home. So the example problem we need to solve. Oh, and by the way, since this is the last session of the lesson, it's usually 9, let me check. No, 8. There's 8 problems on this in this session. This is the one that you should be able to do by yourself without watching the video, without much of your teacher's help. So if you have already done all these problems and you're just using this video to check your answers, great work. If you haven't yet, try them on your own, okay? If there's one you have no idea or you get stuck, no problem, then watch the video. But at this point, you should be able to do some of these problems without just watching the video and following along and copying exactly what I do. Okay, anyway. Which of the figures below has fewer lines of symmetry? So which one has less? So it gives a little explanation about how to explain the work, but on each figure I'm just going to draw the lines of symmetry. So for my square, I know I have a line of symmetry vertically down the middle. Both sides match. I could also do a different one horizontally. Okay, but with a square I could also cut it in half diagonally, corner to corner. And in the other direction I could do corner to corner. Okay, so if I label my lines of symmetry, I have 1 right there. This is line 2, line 3, and line 4. This is not line 5 because it was already line 1. So there were only 4 lines of symmetry for the square. For the rectangle, I know I can do it vertically. Now those are symmetrical sides, or I could do it horizontally, but I can't do it diagonally like the square. Okay, this half would not match that half if I flipped it over. So there's only 1, 2. So which shape has fewer lines of symmetry? Well, 2 is less than 4, so the rectangle. Ta-da! All right, number 1, apply it. So we just apply everything we've learned about symmetry to the rest of the problems in this session. Name a kind of triangle that has a line of symmetry. Name another kind of triangle that does not have a line of symmetry. Show your work. Okay, so we got to remember back a lesson when we were talking about different types of triangles. Okay, there was equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. Okay, so one that does have a line of symmetry would be an isosceles triangle, because I could draw it those 2 sides the same length and then connect them with like a short side down here. But these 2 sides being the same makes that an isosceles triangle. And if I did my line of symmetry down the middle, this side matches that side. Okay, so the triangle with a line of symmetry, it's hard to write at the bottom of the page and I'm holding my book. So my handwriting is going to look rough. Isosceles triangles have a line of symmetry. And then what type of triangle does not have a line of symmetry? That would be a scalene triangle. So I do a short side, long side, longer side. Okay, so I can't cut that anywhere in half to make both sides match. So that's called a scalene triangle. If it has 3 different side lengths, scalene triangles do not. Okay, Isosceles triangles have a line of symmetry, scalene triangles do not. So 1 star for your drawings, 2 stars for your answers if you said isosceles triangles and scalene triangles. Okay. All right. Next side. Don't forget that people on the side have helpful hints right here, okay? I'm gonna zoom in a tiny bit. All right. Number 2. Draw all the lines of symmetry on the hexagon below. How many lines of symmetry does the hexagon have? It's a very strange hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But yeah, hexagon. 6 sides. So I could do one here, because then the top will match the bottom if I flip it across that line. I could also do one vertically right down the middle, because the right side will match the left side if I flip it over. Okay, but I can't do like any diagonal kind of stuff, because if I flip it over any of those lines, it'll make cat ears. It'll have a corner sticking way out and it won't overlap perfectly, right? So there's only 2. The hexagon has 2 lines of symmetry. 1 star for drawing the different lines of symmetry. 1 star for your answer, 2 lines. Okay. This was a helpful hint too. If you needed to, you could have done that, drawn the figure out and cut it to check the lines of symmetry. Number 3, which figure shows the correct lines of symmetry? So only one of these is correct. It's just which figure, not which figures. Okay, so which one is correct? So if we look at A, well, neither of those are right. There's no lines of symmetry on here that are right. I can't flip that right side over the left on that rhombus, because look, this over here would be way out this way. Okay, and I can't flip the top over to match the bottom, because this like point over here, if I flipped it over on the bottom, would be out here. Okay, so not A. B, here's a tree. This half perfectly matches that half if I flip it. So B is our winner, but let's talk about C. So C does have 2 correct ones. The oval can be cut there and there, but we can't cut that oval diagonally and make that a correct line of symmetry, because flipping over on that diagonal would make like a weird heart shape, okay? This would be over here if you flipped it on that line. Okay, so not C. And D. This one works. I could flip the top half over onto the bottom. I could flip the left half onto the right side, or vice versa, but I can't do these diagonals. This is not a proper line of symmetry here. I can't flip that over to make this side, because if I was flipping it on this diagonal, this right here would be, it's tough to draw. It would be like this, I guess. Or out this way a little more. And then it would look like that. Okay, so definitely not D. So correct answer is B. Give yourself a star if you said B. Michael chose D as the correct answer. So he chose, well, I've drawn all over it now, but why does he think D? So, maybe he thought that the diagonals were correct lines of symmetry. I'm gonna say D has some correct lines of symmetry. So D has some correct lines drawn, so the horizontal line and the vertical line are great, but the 2 diagonal ones don't match up. Okay. But 2 diagonal lines are incorrect. And if you explained that a different way, that's fine. You know, we could all have different reasonings for why Michael was incorrect about his answer. But if you wrote down anything about his reasoning, you get a star. All right, number 4. Over here. Okay, cool picture. like the little origami boat. Number 4, which figure has a line of symmetry? So only one of these actually has a line of symmetry. Interesting. Okay, so A, can I cut this anywhere to make the top exactly match the bottom? No, you cannot. Because if you did it right here, I can't flip that over perfectly, right? B, what do you think? Can I cut B anywhere? I can cut it like this because it's our isosceles triangle. This side is the same length as that side. So this top half will perfectly match the bottom half. So it's B. Spoiler alert, F doesn't work. Can't cut that shape anywhere in half to make both sides match. Oh, meant to cross that out. And D, this very strange shape here. I can't cut it in half either side because if I flip the top over onto the bottom, it won't overlap perfectly. So it's B. Okay, number 5. Determine the number of lines of symmetry for each figure below. Draw each figure in the correct column of the table. Some columns may have more than one figure, some columns may not have any figures. So first step is drawing the lines of symmetry on each of these. Okay, so if I do the first rectangle right here, I can do one vertically and one horizontally, and that's it. Okay, so it has exactly 2 lines of symmetry, so it goes in this column, exactly 2. So I'm gonna draw my rectangle right there. Not the best rectangle. Give yourself a star if you put the rectangle in the exactly 2 column. This triangle is equilateral. Every side is the same length, so I can cut it right here. I can also cut it there and there. Okay, those are off a little bit, my bad. Okay, so it has 1, 2, 3 lines of symmetry. It has exactly 3. So the equilateral triangle goes in the exactly 3 column. So give yourself a star if you put it there. This trapezoid, like upside down weird chunky trapezoid, that one only has this vertical line. I can't cut it horizontally because the top won't match the bottom. Only has 1, exactly 1. Okay, star if you put the trapezoid in the exactly 1 column. And this square, diamond, well, whatever it is, I can cut it like that. Both sides match. Cut it like that, both sides match, but since it's a square, I can also do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That is not 5 because it's already 1. This is not 6 because it's already 2. See, those lines are already labeled. So exactly 4 lines of symmetry. Okay, so you should have the trapezoid, rectangle, triangle, square / diamond. Nothing goes in the 0 lines of symmetry column. All right, last page. Okay, number 6. So this is a complicated problem. I always like this one because I feel like usually people are feeling really good about symmetry by this point, and then they get to this problem and they're like, what? So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I'll zoom in more when I'm working on it. But 6 says, part of a figure is shaded on the grid below. Complete the figure by shading squares. Lines R and S are lines of symmetry for the completed figure. Okay, so these problems are always so confusing, but they're kind of my favorite. So if I zoom in a lot on the grid, the figure is not just this. Okay, you see that gray part, how it's darker? That's not the completed shape. The completed shape is all the way over here somewhere, but they need us to draw these quadrants of it. Okay, but R right here is a line of symmetry. So this side is going to perfectly match that side, but so is S, this line. So this side needs to completely match that side. So these are already always tricky problems, but let's work on R first. So I'm going to flip this figure over here. So it's going to be a mirror image, okay? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes on the bottom. So I'm going to color in 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's another row of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a third row of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have the base of the figure. Now I just need this little, I don't know, top part. But it's not right here. Okay, that would not be a proper line of symmetry. If I flip it over, see there's these 4 boxes that don't have anything in it. It's these 4 over here. Okay, so now I've flipped it across the R line of symmetry. So now that side perfectly matches that side. See how that works? Okay, so now the rest of it, I've done R, I've flipped it over this way. Now I have to flip the whole figure, both sides, over across S. So I have to draw this mirror image down here. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another column of 5. Just draw the whole thing. Okay, and then I just have 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and another column of 3. Okay, so I've done one side. See how that right here perfectly flips over and is this on the other side. And then I have to do the same thing, but in this quadrant. Maybe I can change colors so that it's a little clearer. So I can do the same thing. I can flip this bottom part over down here, or I could flip this quadrant, flip it over here. So either way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another one of 5. And then 3, 2, 3. This is my dying pen. 1, 2, 3. It died. Keeps dying. I'll just color the whole thing purple. Okay, and if you outline it, it makes it a little clearer. And I'll outline this one just because. Okay, so that is the completed shape. If you did not do that, if you like had no idea, no problem. Those are really tough problems the first time you do them. Like, it's not very detailed what you're supposed to do in the instructions there. But that's the shape. I think they're pretty fun. I think it's cool. If they just give you like grid paper, give you a shape, and then you have to flip it and make it a mirror image, make it a correct line of symmetry to draw it on the other side. I think it's pretty fun. Hopefully you did too. Let's zoom back out a bit. Okay, number 7. Draw all the lines of symmetry on the quadrilateral below, then draw a different quadrilateral that has more lines of symmetry than the figure shown. Show the lines of symmetry, explain your work. Okay, so this quadrilateral, and it's a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides, we have to draw the lines of symmetry on it. So first step, I only have one line of symmetry right there. Okay, I can only flip it like that to make it a mirror image. I can't do the top half matching the bottom half. Okay, so it only has one line of symmetry. So can you draw a different quadrilateral that would have more lines of symmetry than that? So some quadrilaterals you might do easily are a square or a rectangle. So I'll do a rectangle, but if you did a square, that's totally fine. Okay, so there's a quadrilateral, and its lines of symmetry are here and here. So it has 2 lines of symmetry, and this one only has 1. So I drew it, I showed the lines of symmetry, now I need to explain. So I'm gonna say the kite only has 1 line of symmetry. Okay, because that's the kite shape there. And then the rectangle has 2 lines of symmetry. Perfect. Okay, so you get a star for drawing the line of symmetry on the kite. you get a star for drawing a different quadrilateral. You also get another star for drawing the lines of symmetry on your quadrilateral, and another star for explaining your work. 4 stars in that one problem. All right, and last one is a math journal problem. So use this little space here, maybe like underneath down here, wherever you have the space. There's even space up here by 6 if you want to draw it all the way over there. But you need to answer this question on your own. So Lexi says the line drawn across the circle at the right is a line of symmetry. Is Lexi correct? Explain. So here's our circle, and then she drew this as a line of symmetry. Okay, so will this half of the circle, will this part of the circle match this part of the circle if she flips it over? Yes or no, and explain. Okay, so that's for you to do. If you said that she is not correct, so no, because, and you explained why, you get 2 stars. If you haven't done it yet, I just gave you the answer. No, she's not right. That is not correct. But you need to figure out why. Okay? After you do that, lesson 34 is finished. Okay, so that's fantastic. But if you want to move on, if you want to continue, there's a little bit more in this unit. So the next page right here is Unit 5 Self-Reflection. So we've done all of Unit 5. That's lessons 28 through 34, okay? So all the measurement and data stuff, all the rays, angles, no, it's only 30 through 34, I think. Yeah, rays, perpendicular parallel lines, protractors, adding and subtracting angles, classifying the shapes and triangles, and then symmetry. So all of that stuff that you've done at home now with these videos, well, and these ones were done at home in Math Success, but you can complete this, reflect on what you've learned in this lesson or in this whole unit. And then there's a bunch of pages after this with like big problems. Okay, so these are just long like word problems, story problems that kind of take up multiple pages. So this page, the next page, another page. So there's a lot of problems. Here's one of those really fun ones with a grid if you want to try and draw the lines of symmetry over here. So you do that. See, lots and lots of problems. The one that I would definitely recommend though is the Unit 5 unit review, and it starts on page 768, and it's just the 2 pages right here. Okay, so it's 768 and 769 right here. It's only 5 problems, but it takes all of those lessons, 30 through 34, and it just kind of compiles all that information so you can work on those here. Okay, so think back to angles, how to read a protractor, perpendicular lines, okay? And then there's a performance task, so that's like a real world problem. So something you might have seen on the Smarter Balance test, the SBAC for math, like the second day of the math test is a performance task. So you get a huge problem like this, and then you have to solve it and write like paragraphs explaining it and different solutions and stuff like that. So these are really great practice problems. And then the next page is just, the next couple pages are just different vocabulary and stuff, okay? So all of this is really great review since you're doing all that at home. And if you want, you want to remember all of this stuff for 5th grade and middle school, because you take geometry classes like this in definitely high school, maybe middle school too. So definitely important to review all this information, okay? You want to cement it into your brain. But after you do all this Unit 5 review stuff, we're going all the way back to fractions at the beginning, okay? Lesson 19, fractions. See you then.